Hi there guys, it's been a while since I actually recorded or done any real videos other than upload like no commentary or Twitch draws. I decided to try and do something a little different this time. I decided, why don't I tell you guys some of my life stories? I mean, you've seen my videos, I may have said one or two things about my life, but you probably don't know me all that well, and that's fine, because you're probably not going to get to know personal things about me, but at the very least, I will tell you some of my life stories. I suppose people like to hear stories about retail. They like to hear retail workers suffer. I don't know why this is a thing, but I as much like telling them as other people like hearing them. So, this video will be on nightmarish customers. I'm not going to pick them all. I'm just going to pick the weirdest and the worst customers to go through. So, let's start with this one. I was just minding my own business, doing my work, and this elderly gentleman comes in the store, getting pretty angry, just stomping around, glaring at me. I ask him, "Hi there, sir, can I help you?" And he's like, "I hate this music." I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I could put on something different for you if you'd like." He's like, "Yeah." So I go over to the CD rack. I'm like, "How about you look at some of these and tell me which ones you like, and I could put those on for you." He doesn't say anything. He just glares at me, so I take that as yes. I guide him over to the music station. I tell him to put on the headphones, and I'm in the process of switching out CDs when he suddenly says, "Well, I hate this too." And I say to him, "Okay, but I didn't put in any CDs yet." And he rips off his headphones, throws them to the table, glares at me, and just marches off. Like, I don't even understand what was happening to that day. I don't understand why he was so mad over the music. I think he just wanted to complain or something. Who knows? Alright, this next one takes place with a coworker. Let's call him R because I don't want to give out his real name. Anyway, so my coworker and I are pretty busy, and I'm just coming in. I see there's a lot of work to do, so I immediately start working. And I noticed there's a couple that seems to be glaring at my coworker. So I go over to them. I'm like, "Hi there, how can I help you?" And like, "Oh no, we're just waiting for him to be done." And I probably should have mentioned before that I work in a video game and music shop. We also sell used movies and that kind of stuff, electronics. So he was going through his stuff. And normally what someone does is they leave their stuff with us. If it's a big amount, then they go off and do their merry little thing. If it's a small amount, they wait by. But they had boxes and boxes of stuff, and it's going to take my coworker at least an hour to go through it all. So I don't know why they were staring at him. I don't know if they thought he'd be done soon, but they could see that he had to scan each item in and examine it to make sure it wasn't damaged. And they're just staring at him, so I say next. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I start doing my own stuff. I start getting through the backlog of work, and they're still staring at him. I'm like, "Are you sure there's nothing I can help you guys with?" Like, "No, we're fine." And they continue just staring at him so hard, so intense. I could feel their gaze burning through my coworker into me, and it was just, they literally stood there for almost an hour just staring at my coworker nonstop. It was like, I don't know what they were expecting or doing, or they weren't really mean either. They didn't say anything mean, but their glares were certainly really, really intense. So I have no idea what was going on with that one. That was a pretty creepy moment for my coworker and I. This one was probably my creepiest experience. This was with another elderly gentleman, not the same one from before, I should specify. So he's marching around looking rather gruff, and I'm busy in the back, and my coworker is busy in the front helping out another customer. And then all of a sudden I hear, "Hey, hey." I look over him, he's waving a stack of CDs, and he's like, "I want to listen to these." I say, "Okay, sure." I grab the CDs for him, I put them in the listening station, I let him test them out, and I decide, well, the store's empty aside from my coworker working on this person's things, and that old man is working on the CDs, so I decide, a bathroom break because I needed one. So I go to the bathroom, and without going into details, I was having some problems. So I did spend a few minutes in there, but because there were more customers out there, I could hear people coming in the store, the ding ding of the door. I tried to get out there as soon as I could. In about 4 or 5 minutes, I decided to get out of the bathroom, even though I still wasn't feeling well. And the old man is standing right outside the bathroom door, his hands folded, staring at me. And I say, hi, what's up? And he said, I want to buy these. And I'm a little unsure where his hostile tone is coming from. So I say, okay, I'll get you checked out. I go over to the registers. I notice my coworker's just standing there doing nothing. So I'm a little confused because he could have just asked my coworker to check him out. So I say, hey, my coworker could have checked you out. And he says, I didn't want him. I want you. And that's not something you say when you've been waiting for someone out of a bathroom door, listening to them use the bathroom. That's just creepy. And he was just... You think he was done. You would think he was done. But no, as I'm checking him out, he says, you know, I work 12-hour work shifts and I never use a bathroom. I didn't know how to respond to that. Did he want me to congratulate him or something? It was just so awkward. I don't understand why he was getting so angry at me. So I just said, I'm sorry, sir, it won't happen again. And he responded, yeah, we'll see to it. So that was one of the more creepy stories, and honestly, just the creepiest story I ever experienced in retail. This next one will get anybody who works in retail pretty worked up. So it was around closing time, and there were some customers still in the store, and normally I don't let them know that we're closing soon because it's considered rude, but I was not feeling well that day. I was sick, I was tired, I just wanted to get home, and I said, hey guys, just so you know, we're closing in about 5 minutes, so when you're ready, you can meet me at the register, let me know if you need anything. And they just look so angry at me, and the wife of the couple says, okay, you know what? It's your job to serve us. Do you understand that? It's not your job to tell us when you're open or closed. It's your job to serve us, okay? That's why you work customer service. And I was taken aback. It's like, I didn't expect such a hostile response. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm just a bit tired. I just wanted to get home is all. And she said, okay, well, you don't know tired until you have kids. She didn't even ask me if I have kids or not. She just naturally assumed I didn't. I don't, by the way. And which is beside the point. It's like, okay, what do kids have to do with anything? Are you trying to gatekeep being tired, saying you're only allowed to be tired if you have kids? It's just, that kind of gatekeeping is just ridiculous. I just didn't know what else to say to her except, I'm sorry. And she said, yeah, well, you should be. And do you know what? They complained to my boss about me. They complained to my boss, said I was rude, told them to get out of the store. And ever since then, because of them, we weren't allowed to tell customers we're closed anymore. Now we just have to wait it out. And the longest I ever waited, there was an elderly lady. She was super sweet, so I didn't mind this too much. I waited at least an hour and a half after normal closing time before I was able to leave. It was not a fun day, to say the least. But the lady felt sorry about it, so there was that. This next story, I think, was, I don't know what to call it. Interesting, strange, unusual. Well, anyways, I'm just working, doing my stuff, and the phone rings. I pick it up. I answer with my greeting. Welcome to store. How can I help you today? And I hear a voice on the line. Hey, you said you'd buy my keys? And again, we are a video game, music, movie store, electronics. And I think for a moment he means keys like to a house or to a car. And I'm like, oh, he may mean video game keys. And I said, you mean like keys to your car? And I'm about to say, or a video game? He says, yeah, as in yes to the car. And I said, I'm afraid you have the wrong number, sir. This is a video game and music store and electronics. We don't buy car keys. And he says, what? But you said you'd buy my keys. And I tell him again, I'm sorry, sir, you had the wrong number. but I can, if you're looking for someone, I can try and direct you to the right number. But that's not good enough for him. He hangs up. I think nothing of it. He maybe have realized, oh, it's the wrong number, and he went to do his thing and call the right number. I hang up as well. Then a few seconds later, phone rings again. Hey, you said you'd buy my keys? Tell him again, I'm sorry, this is store name. We don't buy keys. And he's getting really worked up. He's angry. He's like, no, you said you'd buy my keys. You said buy my keys. And I try to keep my patience. I don't know what to tell him. I say, sir, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. He hangs up again. I hang up. Phone rings again. It's guess who it is. Do you want to buy my keys or not? And I keep telling him, sir, you've reached the wrong number. And he says, who is this? I tell him store name, which is probably the 5th time I've told him that. And he says, well, I'm not trying to reach store name. And I say, yes, but this is store name's number that you keep calling. He hangs up again. And I know it's not over at this point. Phone rings a few seconds later. Hello? I answer with my usual greeting. And he gets furious. And he says, every single time I call this number, it's always you guys that pick up. It's like, yeah, that's how phone numbers work. If you have the wrong number, it's not going to magically become the right number because you want it to. Of course, I don't actually say that to him because that would be rude. But I want to say it. And I say, I'm sorry, sir. If you're just telling me who you're looking for, I can try and find you the right number. He yells at me, you're a fucking joke, you tool. And then he hangs up. And that was the last I heard from him. So, humorous, strange, unusual. I don't even know what to call it. It was, interesting, I guess. So this next one is a little humorous. There's this lady that comes in, wants to return, and our store policy is we cannot do returns or exchanges without a receipt. This is posted on the receipt, on the walls, on the registers, on the doors, pretty much everywhere, so you can't really miss it. This lady comes in and wants to return, and I can't because she doesn't have a receipt, as most people wants to return don't. So I let her know, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I need a receipt. And she says, well, I lost it. And I just say, I'm really sorry, but it's just store policy. And she says, where does it say that? So I point it out to her on the receipt and say, it's also posted on registers, walls, and doors, you can see. And she stares at them for a while and she says, well, it's not my job to read. It's your job to read for me, which is stupid to say the least. It's like, no, it's not. If you sign a contract, then it's your job to read it. It's not the person who gives you the contract's job to read it to you. It's like, I'm not your mommy. I don't read you bedtime stories. Of course, I didn't say any of that to her. I just said, I'm sorry, it's just store policy. I really wish I could return this for you, but there's nothing I can do. And she's thinking for a while and she says, yeah, well, the boss would let me do it. I know the boss. And unfortunately for her, my boss is standing right next to me. And without even looking up for Mr. Transaction, he just says, I'm the boss. And she just looks stunned. She didn't expect it at all. And she's like, you're the boss? He said, yeah, I'm the boss. And then she just calms down instantly. She just clams up. And she's like, is there really nothing you can do? And I tell her, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. And she said, okay then. And that was the end of it. She just so calmly took her things and left. So that was a little funny how she was so mad trying to make up lies, and then when caught in the middle of it, then she just can't even... Well, I guess it's a good thing that she didn't double down on it, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Alright, I got time for one final story. This lady comes in, she's furious. She says, how dare you sell these games to my kid? And she plops down GTA 5. And I ask, oh, I'm sorry. Did we not let you know about the mature rating? And she said, no, you didn't. So I say, okay, that's perfectly fine. We can return this. I'm sorry for that. We should have let you know. And chances are she didn't say it was for her kid. So my coworker probably didn't know. I don't blame him one bit. And I start looking at the receipt. I start doing the return. And I realize something. Fallout 4 is also on there, and as you guys know, and if you didn't, you'll know now, it's also a mature rated game. So I let her know. Fallout 4 here is also mature rated. And she says, oh, that game's perfectly fine. And I say, okay. I don't ask her why. And she says, I'm okay with guns and stuff, but do you think a naked lady is okay for a 13-year-old child? And I don't know what to say. It's like the cover of GTA 5 literally has a lady in a swimsuit. And as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, that GTA 5 does not have nudity in it. It has partial nudity as far as I know, but I don't think it has outright nudity. Unless it's censored. Again, if I'm wrong, correct me. Either way, I decide not to fight the point. I do the return for her. And she says, I want to buy a game for my kid. And I say, sure, I can help you out. Are you okay with teen ratings? And she says, yeah, I'm okay with that. So I take her to the games section. And all of a sudden she explodes, there's nothing here for teens. I'm like, well, if you're looking for a shooter, I show her at least 6 games. I'm like, all these are shooter games and they're rated T for teen. She doesn't even look at them. She still says, again, there's nothing here for teens. And I didn't know what to do at that point. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, but are any of these games at all appealing to you? And then she just shakes her head. She's like, there's nothing here for teens. And I don't know if she was stuck in some sort of loop in her head or not, but bottom line, she did the return and she stayed angry, and I'm pretty sure she never came back to the store. Well, that's about it for the day. I'll probably do more stories later, but I hope you enjoyed. All of you have a good night.